Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this video, of course, it's about comics. I say, of course, like I don't, talk about a bunch of random nonsense on this channel on a regular basis. But I think the advice here, or at least the commentary here, will fit you in your normal life on a regular basis. It can, and it's about this. It's a career shift, and it's a place where a lot of people falter, where things go wrong, where they, this is where you get off on the wrong foot. I guess best way to put it. So the concept is about leadership, and I've done videos about this before, and it always sounds kind of, yeah, it could be cute, it sound like a fun little slogan, but there's real meaning behind what I'm saying, and you can apply this again into your own career. When you become a leader, and a leader can be, depending on the company, a manager, a director, a vice president, a C-level, whatever it happens to be. When you manage people, the higher up the food chain you go, you get fun things. You get extra money, you get stock options, you get maybe a nice parking spot. I have no idea. There's still some places out there that will give you a car. You get perks for leadership. And it's very easy to get kind of enamored by the perks and think, hey, I must be really important. They're giving me things. And you are important. They're promoting you. They see something in you. They see something of value. They're not going to promote somebody with no hope, no future, unless you work for comics. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Well, not really, but anyway, generally speaking, when you get promoted, your company, in addition to thinking you're pretty cool and giving you things, they actually have higher expectations from you. And one of the reasons they give you these nice things is because the accountants have done the math and figured out that, hey, if I give this person like some places will start paying for your phone. So it's like, if I give this guy, an extra $80 a month for his cell phone, then I can work that guy an extra 2 hours a week, or the guy will just naturally work 2 hours a week because he believes he's more important and he needs to, because the company showed some faith in him, so he has to pay it back. There's that feeling like, oh, I better do more. And so the companies do the math. They're like, okay, so this person is, at a higher level, responsible for a bunch of business. $80 a month for a cell phone, is far less than an extra 2 hours a day where I may be paying this person. If somebody has like a $300,000 a year salary, paying $80 as a perk and getting that person to work harder is a hell of a good deal for the company. And people forget that part. They forget that nothing is free, and if you get more things, they expect more of you. So what does this have to do with comics? Well, there's another aspect to this, which is, and this is one of those cases where I think wrestling has a good analogy for comics, like wrestling often has a good analogy for a lot of things. There's a concept within the wrestling universe called the locker room leader. Now, the locker room leader is not an official job. You don't get more money, but you do get respect from the other people. And generally, this is a person who comes in and takes it upon themselves to kind of organize, settle fights, handle disputes, kind of keep things in order. Sometimes people take that job because they want a little bit of power. They want to see what that feels like. Sometimes they take the job just because they're tired of all the bullshit and they're just trying to make their lives easier by, saying, I'll do a modest amount of organization and I'll be happier, and, the company benefits too. There's lots of reasons why people fall into this. So the idea of the locker room leader, though, is that it's a what they call like a moral promotion, meaning you're not getting more money, but you're kind of expected to just do more. And with that expectation, it means if you fail, your failures will be more significant. And it means that, when you're out in public or you're giving a speech or you're on social media or where it happens to be, people have a little bit more expectation that you're not going to be a crazy asshole. So there's a bunch of different aspects to this. So in comic books, this is where the concept of the moral leader or the social leader, there's a number of different ways to describe it. This is where that concept is often neglected, because conversely, the example of a moral leader, or somebody who's got a more coveted position, this would be somebody like, say, a Dan Slott, who has a long-standing Marvel writer position, and he can have most gigs that he wants, and he's seen as a go-to person, and Marvel will promote him, and they'll do a little actual terrible documentary on him or whatever it happens to be. They'll do things for that person in order to elevate them, which for a creative person is going to help them in their career. But the expectation is you're going to go out and do net good for the company and for comics. And too often the people get put in that positions, the slots, the Tom Kings, the people along those lines, instead take their leadership position to be free reign, to be a crazy a-hole, pick fights, take your ego, blow it insanely out of proportion, and then bat it around. And if you look at several of the people in comics who are both big two people or indie people or whoever it happens to be, the bigger names, the people that you recognize, what's one common thread of all of them? They may be radically different politically, all the rest, but one common thread is that they all tend to have just massive egos and be generally unpleasant to hang out with. For the people who like them, they appreciate the fun, but generally you have to suck up to them or it's crazy town. And they say things that are probably not helpful to promoting comics, promoting their company, getting more interest, helping other people out. And this is one of those differences that's kind of gone on in comics. If you take a guy like Jim Shooter notoriously behind the scenes was a hard ass. He was the classic the boss who makes people cry. I don't know that he actually made people cry, but I suspect he probably did. So, but Jim Shooter, when he was out in public, like Stan Lee, even though Stan Lee would, the fights between him and Jack Kirby were somewhat legendary, and people accused Stan Lee of stealing stuff and all the rest. When they were out in public, they all took the responsibility of being leaders to promote comics, promote their company, promote the job, because in their minds, I'm at a more senior, high-profile position. I need to do my part to make the business bigger. And don't think they're doing it just out of the goodness of their hearts. They were doing it because they were able to do the quick math to say, if I make the business bigger, I will make more money. And it's really that simple. It was that simple of math. If I make comics bigger, I become more powerful, I make more money, I have more influence, I'm in a better position. Therefore, to put in a more colloquial way, don't shit where you eat. And that's the unspoken responsibility of a leader. And so in comics, if you hear me sometimes being hard on a Jim Lee or hard on a Dan Slott or hard on people like that, it's because you guys are shitting where you eat. It's detrimental to yourselves, and maybe you're fortunate enough that you're super rich that you just don't care. You don't need to make more money. You're toward the end of your career. It doesn't matter to you anymore. You're good. But you do have a responsibility to try and make at least as much as you can to try and give back to a business that did well by you. And the way you do that is by not being a crazy dick. That's how you solve that problem. And it turns out if you're good at that, you can find that your career extends quite a long time. You can actually keep going in this industry long after arguably you should leave it. That's the value of trying to continuously support, promote, grow the business. Growing the business means growing yourself. So if you can't do it because of the old kind of wrestling locker room leader mentality, that unwritten responsibility of just doing net good to a business that helped you, if that's not enough for you, at the very least, do it because it's going to help you out financially. It's great when people get to a high level position and all the rest, but this is the funny thing about truly successful rich people is they believe always that they believe that if they are rich, the journey is not done. There's an opportunity to be richer. The really successful people are never satisfied with what they've got. They've got to do more. They've got to go bigger. And it's that drive that often keeps them out of trouble. It's the people who get enough money and think, I'm good, I don't need any more. Those are the people who are often far more of a moving target in terms of how they're going to behave and how they're going to act. Anyway, just a little bit about leadership. Leadership's a funny thing. And if you're a leader, expect people to be harder on you. So in your job, somebody gave you that promotion, somebody gave you some extra cash. It's not out of the goodness of their heart. They want something out of you. Thanks for listening.